Welcome to Louise's Wisdom, where timeless truths meet today's spirit. There's something captivating about a woman who walks into a room and instantly draws attention, not because of what she wears or how she looks, but because of the energy she carries. You can't quite put your finger on it. It's not youth, it's not glamour, it's something deeper. It's presence, it's peace, it's power. These women don't chase attention, they attract it effortlessly, and more often than not, they've learned how to become irresistible through life's most profound teacher, time. Louise Hay, a pioneer in self-healing and personal growth, believed that how we think, feel, and speak to ourselves creates the very foundation of our lives. The most irresistible women aren't those who cling to the past. They're the ones who've embraced every wrinkle, every lesson, and every loss as part of their radiant story. They know who they are, and they live with intention. The first habit that makes an older woman truly irresistible is radical self-acceptance. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being unapologetically whole. Louise taught that every thought we think is creating our future. When a woman begins to truly accept herself, not just the parts she likes, but also the parts she's been taught to hide, she steps into a kind of beauty that no mirror can capture. She stops waiting to be validated. She chooses herself every single day. This confidence isn't loud, it's magnetic. It's the kind that makes people lean in without knowing why. Because when a woman loves herself without condition, others can't help but do the same. The second habit? She speaks from the heart, but never from a wound. There's a calm in her voice, even when she's saying something firm. That's because she's done the work. She's healed. She doesn't project her past onto others, and she doesn't use her story to control the room. Instead, she speaks with clarity, and often with kindness. Louise often said, "Forgiveness is for yourself because it frees you." An irresistible woman knows this. She's let go of bitterness, not because it didn't hurt, but because she refuses to carry it anymore. Her presence feels light, even when her history is heavy. That lightness is magnetic. It tells the world, "I've been through fire, but I no longer burn." And perhaps the most enchanting habit of all, she nurtures her spirit, not in grand, dramatic ways, but in the quiet, consistent rituals of love, a morning affirmation, a silent prayer, time in nature, a deep breath before speaking. Louise Hay believed that what we do daily becomes the texture of our lives. The irresistible woman knows this. She tends to her inner garden. She doesn't let the weeds of resentment or fear grow unattended. She waters her joy. She celebrates small victories. She rests without guilt. And in doing so, she glows, not with youth, but with wisdom, softness, and self-knowing. People are drawn to her not because she's chasing anything, but because she's found something. Something rare, something real. In a world that teaches women to shrink as they age, she has expanded. In a society obsessed with staying young, she has chosen to stay true. She radiates not what she once was, but all she's become. She's the kind of woman who doesn't need to raise her voice to command a room. Her silence says enough. Her gaze is calm, but piercing. She's not here to compete. She's here to be. And that is something most people don't learn until much later in life, if ever. There is an irresistible quality in a woman who is no longer performing for approval, no longer editing herself to fit in. Louise Hay often reminded us that we are the only thinkers in our minds. That means we have the power to free ourselves from the scripts handed down by society. An older woman who has embraced this truth has stopped living by someone else's definition of success, beauty, or worth. She writes her own rules. She doesn't apologize for the space she takes up or the silence she keeps. And that quiet certainty? That draws people in. She's irresistible because she doesn't chase time. She honors it. She doesn't look in the mirror wishing to rewind the years. Instead, she thanks each one for what it taught her. The lines on her face aren't flaws. They're maps of where she's been, what she's overcome, and how much she's grown. There's nothing more magnetic than a woman who's made peace with aging. In her presence, people feel safe to be themselves. They feel seen, not judged, not measured, just held. because she's held herself through heartbreak, doubt, and transformation. Louise believed that love is the most powerful healing force there is, and this woman has made love, not fear, her foundation. Another subtle but powerful habit of an irresistible older woman is that she chooses joy, deliberately. She doesn't wait for special occasions to feel alive. She doesn't postpone happiness until everything is perfect. She finds beauty in small things: warm sunlight on her skin, laughter that bubbles up unexpectedly, the scent of a flower, the stillness of a morning. She knows that joy is a choice, and she chooses it often. She laughs without restraint. She dances in the kitchen. She sings off key. She doesn't care who's watching. And that freedom is attractive. It makes people want to be near her, not because she has something to prove, but because she reminds them of what it feels like to be truly free. She also sets boundaries, clearly, lovingly, and without guilt. That's part of her allure. She's no longer available for one-sided relationships, for gossip, or for anything that drains her peace. She's learned that no is a complete sentence, and saying it doesn't make her unkind. It makes her wise. Her time is sacred, and her energy is a gift. She gives it with intention, not obligation. Louise once said, "You've been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens." This woman took that advice to heart. She no longer sacrifices her well-being to make others comfortable. And that self-respect radiates from her like a quiet flame. There's one more thing that makes her utterly magnetic. She lives in alignment. Her words match her actions. Her values are clear. She doesn't bend with every trend or opinion. She's rooted, grounded, and yet she remains open to learning, to unlearning, to evolving. She listens more than she speaks. She asks questions without rushing to answer them. She doesn't pretend to know it all. And in that humility lies her power. She's a student of life, always. And because of that, she never stops growing. If this message stirred something in you, whether it reminded you of someone you admire or awakened a part of yourself you've been neglecting, don't let it fade when the video ends. Share your thoughts. Reflect out loud. Tell us about the women in your life who carry this kind of quiet power. Or maybe, tell us how you are learning to embody it. Your voice, your journey, your wisdom, they matter here. Louise's wisdom is more than a channel. It's a space to honor the stories that shape us and the habits that heal us. So speak up, speak from the heart, and let others feel the warmth of your insight. Someone out there needs to hear exactly what you have to say.